Okay, so you have downloaded the model, so the figure or person standing in the T pose, and you also have all the animations. So you should be able to drag into Unity. Now this will take a little bit of time. And when they have all been imported, okay, now this is important. This is your model. One thing you must do is click and then go to rig and change this to humanoid and then tick apply. You have to do this for the animations as well. You know if it's worked if you have this tick. Okay, so you have to do it for every animation. Okay, I'll pause and then come back once I've done it to all the animation. Okay, so they are now all done. Okay, humanoid, lovely. So the first thing you can do is just drag your character onto the stage, and you will notice it has this animator here. Okay, so now you can start trying to animate your character by using these animations here. If you click on one and then just choose that tab, animations, you will see a preview if you click here. So you can see what all your animations look like. Okay. Now to start animating, we're going to use this tab where it says animator up here. If I go back to scene, I'm going to click on the model. Okay. And just Spectre rig. Okay. Okay, now we're going to click here where it says create. Come down and it says animator controller. Click that and then just give this a name. So I'm going to call it animator controller. The name does not matter at the moment, really. Okay, now this is the character, the model on the stage. Okay, it's actually part of our animation. If you click inspector, you see it says animator here, and here it says controller and it says none. So this animator controller that you've just made, we need to drag onto this box here. Okay, now what you can do is double click on this, and this is what you should see. Now if you go to game, now we're actually looking behind the model. If I click on camera, I'm going to just drag the camera. That's odd. Just see what happens here. Game, and it's gone. Let's try that again. What I'm going to do, actually, you can move the camera. What I'm going to do is actually just click on. This is quite good to know. You can click on the character, click rotate, and then I'm going to drag on this yellow line so the character is then turning around. Now if I go to game, so now we're looking at the character. Okay, right, so if I now click play, nothing actually happens because we have not animated it yet. We have not put any animations on. So at the moment our character should just be standing there. Animation, so if we now click on animator, we have this entry and then any state. So entry just means when the animation first loads. So we can maybe drag this up. Okay, so the first thing that will happen, it will go to this entry animation and then idle. So game and then play. So that is the character when it's just standing idle. Idle means do nothing. So I'll click off of that, go back to animator, and I'm actually going to click here and then here. Okay. I'm going to drag maybe a jump, okay? Now, what will happen is first it will go to idle. Nothing will happen until we right click, make transition, and drag up to jump. So now, after the idle animation has finished, if I click idle, after the idle animation is finished, it will then, the character will then jump. Game, play. So it will go idle and then it should jump. So the idle is actually an animation. Okay, so it's going to jump and then after that it will just go back to idle. So you can now start actually building up. So if I do back flip to uppercut, so again I'm going to right click, make transition, click on there, game, click play. So again, this is an animation. So once this is finished, you can change the, okay, jumps up and now the back flip, okay, and the uppercut. So that's how you can get a series of animations. Now there are more complicated things you can do. You can change the length of the animation, okay. There are lots and lots of different things you can do. In the longer video, which is on the class website, you have the lady talking about how you then do more complicated things. To start with, just get familiar with what is happening here. You can right click, do make selection, and then go back down. So you can see what happens. What might happen then is, if we click on this, so we might see idle, then a jump, and then it should, so there's the jump, now is the back flip, that's the uppercut, and it should jump again. Okay, so it went back to jump, and then you can go make transition and go back to idle. And that is how you get your basic animations going. You are not controlling the character now yet, you are just making an animation. But that is how you get your animation started. And just like with like any other animation, you can then add other characters onto that if you've made it and get them to animate. So that is part 1 of animating in Unity. Thank you. Enjoy.